Hi, in this video I'm going to try to walk you through the rubber sleeve on Autodesk Inventor, which is part of Introduction to Engineering Design. You can see a finished product here. It should look like this. I've added some shadows and some texture to it just to make it look a little bit more realistic, give you an idea what's going on. It's really, think of like a bike handle. You might slide this around the end of a bike handle or something. So how do we create this? We're going to use the tool. The Revolve Feature is what it's called. It's up here in the 3D modeling tab right next to Extrude. So I'm going to walk you through that process. Let's start off with some dimensions here. Okay, the Revolve feature, the way that it works, we have this section view in front of us, designated by these slashed lines here. This darker section that looks shaded in, those are parts that would remain if I were to cut away part of the rubber sleeve. Okay, and when we use the Revolve feature, we don't need to draw both the top and the bottom. We just need to draw one of those. So I'm going to draw the bottom half here, this L-shaped feature that goes here. I'm also going to draw this dashed line here, the center line. Notice the long, short dash. Okay, that's a center line. I'm going to draw that first. I'm going to lock everything into that, and that's going to help me get everything dimensioned properly. And then we're just going to do a revolve around that center line, and it's going to create this nice little rubber sleeve for us. So the first thing, again, that I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to create a new sketch. So I'm in a new part now. Okay, new sketch. And I would always suggest that you draw your axis of rotation first. In this case, since it's not part of the feature, I'm going to lock everything into it. So I'm going to start at the green dot here. I'm going to come out. It really doesn't matter how long this axis of rotation is. It could be an inch, it could be a mile. Autodesk Inventor does not care. But since the whole part is 4.469 inches long, I figure that's a pretty good start. Okay, now my line will be exactly the same length as the actual sleeve itself. Because it's not part of the feature, we don't want to just leave it as a solid line. Let's go ahead and turn it into a construction line. That's one thing you can do. Now it's a dashed line, you can see here, and a dashed line just means it's not part of the final shape. It's just a line that we're using for reference. But even better than that is I can come up here and I can also use what's called the Centerline tool. If I create a center line, now we get that long, short dash, and my dimensioning is going to work a little bit differently, and it's going to be really convenient later on. So that's my first step. I've got that thing fully constrained. You can see down here. Now it's time to go add the rest of the shape. So I'm going to draw an L-shaped feature down here. I'm going to work quickly. I'm going to trust that you can go read the dimensions later on. Okay. I think the easiest way to do it probably would just be to start with the rectangle that starts here, goes down. It's 0.156 wide. The height, you know what, honestly, I'm not really concerned about that yet. Okay, and then I'm also going to have a rectangle here. The rectangle is going to be 4.469 inches long, and it's going to be 0.25 inches tall. So now I have a little bit of an outline here. I don't have it in place yet, but it's close. I'm going to use the trim feature. I'm going to get rid of the junk in here and here, and that way I have a full L-shaped outline. Move this also down real quick. Oops. Escape out of my dimension tool. Here we go. Okay, so that's a good start. Okay, next step is I need to get the distance away, because this thing can move up and down at will. So I need to make sure that I get this distance away from the axis of rotation. This is where it comes to be really nice that I used a center line, because like for instance right here where it says 1.375 outside diameter, that means the distance from the very top to the very bottom, the outer diameter of the biggest circle is 1.375. Okay, but when I dimension, I'm going to dimension from the bottom surface to the center line, and that makes you think, well, hey, I got a radius then. I got to cut this 1.375 in half. But watch what happens because I used the Centerline tool here. When I go to dimension and I say the distance from here to here, which I'm thinking is a radius of a circle, look, it says, well, listen, if it's a center, that means it's going to be symmetrical. You're probably going to use revolve. It's trying to guess ahead at what you're going to do. So I can come over here and it shows the diameter symbol. So I can just type in the 1.375 exactly like I see it, right? Now, I can see here that that shifted things up a little bit. So right now, before I go any farther, I'm going to take this guy. I'm just going to drag it back down, kind of get it in the right spot. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing over here on the left. And you notice on the dimensions that it's 0.1875 is the diameter of that circle. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to dimension from this line to my center line. It uses the dimension line. It still says that, right? 0.1875. And I have the diameter tool, which means that I know I'm pretty good here. Okay. I still have 3 dimensions that are needed. And this is kind of the point where kids go, oh, what's wrong? How do I even know what I need to dimension at this point in time? Don't forget about your light bulb at the bottom. It'll show you what it'll move, okay? You can see that everything can move left to right, okay? That's a problem. We don't want it to be able to move left to right, okay? So in order to do this, I think the quickest way to take care of that is to say I'm going to vertically align the endpoint here with this corner. Now that can't move. I'm going to do the same thing on the left hand side. This endpoint, that corner, and this endpoint are going to stay. It looks like I lost my 1.156, didn't I? You know, I'm going to delete that for just a second. I'm going to come up here and redimension from here to here. That's 0.156. Now it says I need one more dimension. Oh, okay. Well, here was what happened. I had a rectangle. The bottom of that rectangle is no longer existing, right? Okay. So because I cut out these parts earlier, if you remember, I trimmed those. So I'm just going to take that. I'm just going to delete it. I think that'd probably be the easiest way to get rid of it. If I can't latch onto it, I'm going to take that red dot and drag it off to the right, and now I can delete it. Okay, it says fully constrained. I have my outline. Nothing can move. I'm ready to revolve. I'm going to finish the sketch. I'm going to click revolve. The profile that I want is this thing right here. Click here for axis, and the axis that I want is the center line. And notice, there it is. It's created. Large opening on the right, small opening on the left. The last thing that we have to do then is just to fill at the edges, and the radius for the fillet on this case happens to be 0.25 on both the left and right ends. Click OK, and you're done. If you want to go through and mess with textures and lighting and shadows and stuff, you can. Not necessary, really. Just want you to be able to use the Revolve feature and read some dimensions. Hope this video helps you out with the assignment or Introduction to Engineering Design.